election season once again in Wisconsin, and this Tuesday you'll have the chance to decide who you want representing you in a number of county and school board races. First, what to know. Friday was your last day to register to vote in person, but in Wisconsin you can register day of at the polls if you bring proof of residence. Now, it's too late to request an absentee ballot, but if you have an absentee but haven't returned it yet, you should take it to your clerk in person rather than putting it in a postal box. And a reminder, you cannot use drop boxes for this election after a state Supreme Court decision. Now, some races that we're watching, the Dane County Board will see significant turnover, and there's 3 school board races in the Madison School District. One is unchallenged, another has a write-in, and then finally, Laura Simkin and Shepard Joyner face off in the 3rd. Now, I'm joined by political reporter Will Kenneally. Thanks for coming back to the show.
Yeah, good to be with you.
All right, I want to start off by talking about the county board. Are we expecting really significant changes, and is that going to be really changing the face of the current makeup?
Very much so. Roughly a third of county board members are not running for re-election, so we'll see about a third turnover, 11 seats. Possibly some more because there are some challenged races on top of that, but very high turnover. When I spoke to Annalise Eicher, who's the chair of the county board, she says it kind of runs in 10-year cycles, right? Every year, every 10 years, we have a redistricting cycle where these boundary lines get redrawn. People think that that's a good time to retire. So that's what we're facing right now. We'll see a bunch of new faces on the board for sure.
So when talking about new faces, what are the older faces that we're going to be seeing going away? Are we talking any major names? Who are those people?
Definitely. So I think the one that stands out to me most of all, covering the legislature a lot, is Sheila Stubbs. She's the first black legislator representing kind of West Madison in the legislature. She's also served on the county board since 2006. So she's stepping away from her county board duties to commit full-time to the legislature. I spoke to Dane County Executive Joe Parisi earlier this week, and he mentioned that she's been a great leader. He said, quote, a really effective leader on the county board. So he thanked her for her time and wished her well moving full-time onto the legislature here.
And she's really finding kind of her feet in the legislature after, is it 2 or 3 years that she spent in there? What is it like for the county board, though, to lose someone who has been there that long, that kind of historical knowledge you get with people who have been there for a decade plus?
Yeah, so Annalise Eicher, again, the county board chair, she says that, while they are losing some people who have been there for forever, it's nice to get new faces, to get that change, some new ideas, some new energy in the board. But there are still a core of long-time county board supervisors who will be able to retain that kind of institutional memory on the county board.
Now, I touched on this a minute ago when I mentioned that we can't use drop boxes for this election. Talking to election clerks, are they prepared for a bit of a tricky race, or for people who are very confused about kind of the changing of where you can put your absentee ballot?
Yes, this has been fascinating to follow. It's a change that's happened since February. We have a February primary and an April general election. So the main difference is wherever you drop off a ballot, it has to be staffed, right? You have to hand it in person. So even if it's a box, it has to be staffed by somebody from the clerk's office. So that's caused a lot of confusion from clerks, essentially because the Wisconsin Elections Commission has been barred from giving a guidance due to that Supreme Court decision. So clerks have largely had to coordinate with themselves and the counties to see, what they need to do to make sure everybody can vote effectively.
All right, Will, thanks so much as always for coming on, talking politics with us. We appreciate the explanation. Yeah. Just a reminder, we'll be covering these elections online at channel3000.com. Now, coming up after the break, a look at some of the big headlines for next week.